Have you ever wanted a real rich and good homemade lasagna? One where not only can you see the layers, but when you cut it, it stays in the layers. We are getting ready to make lasagna. I have a lot of ingredients out here. And honestly, this isn't all because I don't have my seasonings out here. But one thing I wanted to touch on, first of all, I am using Italian sausage and Angus beef, all right? So I have a pound of sweet Italian sausage and I have a pound and a half of 80/20 Angus ground beef. Now for the pasta. This is a really good pasta. You can use any pasta you want, or any brand, I should say. But this is Rumo, and this only has durum wheat, semolina, all right? It is not enriched. A lot of people keep telling me that enriched products are good because it's got iron and niacin and this and that and vitamin B and all these things added into it. No, it is actually not. Do just a little bit of research. When you have an enriched product, and a lot of pastas are enriched because during the processing of making the pasta, it was stripped of its original nutrients and they're putting them back in with synthetic nutrients, okay? So it's not real anymore, it's synthetic. So we don't want that if at all possible. So I've got several cheeses out here, and I actually have a couple of more that I'm going to be putting in here. My main cheeses for my lasagna are cheddar, Parmesan, mozzarella, and provolone. However, when I am making lasagna, because I like it really cheesy, if I have some open cheese in there, I go ahead and grate it up and it goes in here too. So I have a ton of different cheese, kind of like I clean out my cheese bin when I'm making lasagna. I do not like ricotta cheese. I use cottage cheese. So I'll show you how I'll be using that. I have onion, garlic, and green bell peppers. My green bell peppers may look a little wonky, but that's because I grew them. They came out of my garden, and that's fine, and so did my garlic, okay? So I'm gonna get the onion, garlic, green bell peppers cut up, and then we're gonna head to the stove so we can get our pasta going, as well as our meat for our meat sauce. While we are waiting on our pasta water to boil and our skillet to heat up, I just wanted to show you this particular lasagna noodle. You see how it's crimped a little bit more on the edges than normal, okay? So this is what we're going to be using. For the dish that I have, I'm going to need about 12. And when I need 12, I usually cook at least maybe 14, because it's nothing like realizing when you're putting your lasagna together that I need just one more noodle. Okay, our water is starting to boil, so the first thing we're going to go in with is a good amount of salt, okay? Make sure your water is salted really, really well. When I put my pasta in for lasagna, I like to put them in one noodle at a time. That actually keeps them from sticking together, so, and I like to count them as I go as well. Okay, so we have our pound and a half of ground beef and our pound of Italian sausage. We're going to start breaking this up as it cooks. And then we'll be adding in other seasonings. We will continue to break our meat up as it cooks, but we're going to go ahead and get all of our veggies in, our seasoning, so that it can all start cooking together. It is not necessary to saute your vegetables first. If you do, you'll be cooking them 3 times as opposed to 2, because we're going to cook them now with the meat. And remember, it is going in the oven. Now, along with those vegetables, I am adding some thyme from my garden at the Scaredy Cat Gardener. Basil, again, from my garden. And oregano from my garden. And of course, we could not cook this lasagna without my Pam's Prep all-purpose seasoning. So first I'm going to kind of mix this in, and then we're going to continue to break up our meat while we cook. Ooh, this smells amazingly delicious. Okay, we are ready to add our actual pasta sauce to this, but do you see all this liquid in here? We've got to drain it. If you don't drain the liquid from the meat that you're putting in, the lasagna will come out watery and greasy, okay? And it won't hold together as well, so we need to get all of this out of there. I will be using a mesh strainer like this, and I will be draining this entire skillet. So we'll be back. Okay, now we're gonna pour our pasta sauce in. You can use any pasta sauce you want. This is just some that I had made a while back, and it's been frozen, so I'm just using it. We're gonna let this simmer for about 10 minutes. Then we are going to build it. While this is simmering, we are letting our pasta cool so that we can handle it. And we'll be back. In the meantime, prepare your cottage cheese, ricotta cheese if you're using it, with the egg. We need to incorporate 1 egg into the cottage cheese. Okay? You can beat it first if you want. I just go ahead and put it in and mix it well. Don't skip this step. If you don't like ricotta cheese, use cottage cheese. You are not really going to taste the cottage cheese taste. This is helping to bind your lasagna together, okay? So it's gonna be put in throughout, but keep in mind, it is still a cheese and it will melt. And once it incorporates with all the other cheese and flavors, unless you end up having a big dollop of it somewhere, you won't taste it. So don't have a fear if you're not a favorite of, because when I have used ricotta cheese in this for that, but if I can get cottage cheese, why not? Because I just do like cottage cheese. So, but either one, you really won't taste the actual flavor of it. Now, that's my taste buds, all right? Put my disclaimer out there. Everyone's taste buds is different. So you may make it and say, I tasted the cottage cheese, yeah. So keep that in mind as well. But this is what helps to hold your lasagna together, okay? Make sure your oven is preheated to 375 degrees, and we are going to lightly spray our baking dish. We don't want to spray it so much that it creates any oil for our dish, but we're protecting our dish. This helps our dish not stick, so that when you're all done with your lasagna, you're not trying to scrub it because it's all stuck up. So I like to make sure my handles have oil on it as well as around the base. Now, we will be using our hands to layer this with our noodles, so make sure your hands are absolutely clean, and we'll be back. Okay, we are ready to actually layer our lasagna. Now, before you layer your lasagna, give your meat sauce a stir and a taste. You want to make sure that you can taste all the flavors that you want in there. Does it have enough salt? Does it have enough of Pam's Prep all-purpose seasoning? Okay? Does it have enough of everything in it that you want? That is delicious. Okay. The first thing you need to do is layer a very thin amount. And when I say thin, I mean thin, because you do not want to use all of your meat sauce on the bottom. But this is how you start off. It's okay if when you are putting this on the bottom that you can see your dish, whatever dish it is, through the sauce. You are putting this on the bottom to keep your noodles from sticking to the bottom, even though we oiled it, okay? So this is all this little meat sauce is doing, is making it so that your pasta and your whole lasagna does not stick to the bottom of your pan. So you see how I'm doing this, and you see how you can see the glass through the meat sauce. That's fine. That's what you want, because we are not trying to use our meat sauce on the bottom of the pan. Okay, now make sure your hands are absolutely clean, and that your noodles are cool. And I'm going to probably need a knife here. Take a noodle, shake any extra water off, and lay it in here the long way against your dish. Now, this is wonderful because these noodles are actually long enough for my entire dish. Usually I'm using sometimes I use a smaller dish, and I have to cut the noodles, okay? And just lay them side by side. If you have any broken noodles, you can use those. See, this noodle is broke. You can still use it. Just line up the broke part as best you can. You don't have to throw it away because it's broke or anything like that, okay? Always keep a paper towel handy to wipe your hands with. Now we go in with some of our meat sauce. Spread it all over your noodles. Now, this is where the next thing we need to do is add in some of our cottage cheese mixture. I always give everything a quick stir before I use it. Okay? Now we're just going to dot this all around. You're not trying to put any amount in any particular space or anything. You just want it all, a little bit all over, okay? I will probably have to get my other cheese out shortly. And then sprinkle your cheese, whatever cheese you're using. Put that on top of here. grab my other shredded cheddar cheese in a minute. And now we repeat the process starting with our lasagna noodles. Okay, last couple of steps before we go into the oven. First of all, when you are layering your lasagna, please layer it up to the top of the dish. If you don't have enough ingredients to layer it to the top of the dish, use a smaller dish, okay? Especially if you're having company. Don't have a lasagna and the dish is half full, okay? Use a smaller dish and make it full. Okay, the last thing I am going on the top here is some shredded Parmesan cheese. Just want to sprinkle this all over the top. As well as some Parmesan Romano cheese. This is grated. It also has a little oregano in it. And a lot of you all will probably ask me, what size glass dish am I using? This is, I don't know the actual size. I'll have to look it up and I will link it in the products, but this is the next size up from the 9x13. This is not a 9x13. This is slightly larger. I just can't think of what the actual size measurements are right now. Okay. This grated Parmesan on the top gives it that kind of crusty, rustic top that we like on our lasagna. Now, we are going to bake this in a 375-degree oven, which your oven needs to be preheated. Once we get ready to go into the oven at 375 degrees, we need to cover it. Now, I am using non-stick foil. However, although I am using non-stick foil, which non-stick foil really works, I'm going to spray my foil. Because the last thing I want is for me to open up this lasagna and my cheese is all over the top of this foil, okay? So, spray it, cover it, bake it. Okay, we will go back in after 40 minutes. We're gonna bake this for 40 minutes because it's in a larger container. If you are using a 9x13 container, then you wanna bake it for 30 minutes the first time around, okay? Then we will go back in it after this first 40 minutes. Make sure it is sealed tightly and we'll be back. Okay, so we are at the 40-minute mark. So now we want to go in, remove the foil, and please be careful. It is hot. I can't stress that enough, how hot this is, and it's glass, so it's not going to cool anytime soon. Those corners off of there. Ooh. And lift it up. And you see there's no cheese on my foil because I sprayed it and I used non-stick. Okay, so as you can see, it's nice and bubbly. It's bubbling over. And this is what we want at this point. Now I'm just gonna go in with just a little parsley right on top. Just sprinkle it on a little bit here and there. And I'm going to add a few more shakes of my Pam's Prep all-purpose seasoning. Let's get that seasoning right on top of that cheese. Okay, we're gonna go in uncovered for about 15 more minutes and we'll be back. We are all done. It has cooled. Now we're going to get us a piece for our taste test. Oh my goodness. If you all could smell this, it smells delicious. Okay, I'm just going around the edge here with my knife, getting it off the edge. This up. Yes, look at those layers. Look at that, guys. Ooh, wee. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Look at that, y'all. Ooh. This looks amazing. We've got to do our taste test. Yes. See how you got a nice square and you can see all your layers in there. That's what we're looking for. It is time for our taste test. But if you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today here in my kitchen. Take a second and subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 1.5 million subscribers together, returning subscribers. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And channel members, those of you all who are part of Pam's Pantry, thank you for your loyal, faithful support. The full recipe will be on my website, pamspreps.com. Seasonings will be there too. And this wonderful piece of cheese garlic bread I have, the recipe is coming right behind this one. So make sure you are subscribed with that notification bell on. Okay. Oh my goodness. And don't forget to check out my other channels, Pam's POV, Pam's Pop-Ups, where I've been giving out that recall information. You guys need to make sure you know about that. And at the Scaredy Cat Gardener, where all my seasonings came from. Okay, without further ado, oh my goodness, y'all. I wish y'all could have some. Want a bite? Yes. This is so amazing. Woo! Oh my goodness. Let me know if you make this delicious. You can taste all the herbs I put in here from my garden. The onion, the garlic, the thyme, the oregano, just everything, as well as my Pam's Prep all-purpose seasonings. The different cheeses just makes it so delicious. Woo! Oh, y'all know what time it is. Gotta go eat. And I will see you next time. The good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Bye-bye.